Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your region. This is Gal. Nice to meet you all as well today for the Leganto June release note. Took me a while to remember. This session is recorded, so you will be able to um, follow it out later on our knowledge center, and definitely today you can ask me direct question if needed. Please mute yourself. It will be easier for me to hear myself this way. Thank you. Um, so this release we have quite nice enhancements, which I would like to demo today. And I'm sure you already saw some of it on the sandbox, but nevertheless, this is the chance to see it again and ask questions if you wish. So the first enhancement, the readiness advisor and the readiness tip, is really an enhancement that originated from the perspective of we would like to have a better and more useful and engaged reading lists created by the instructors. But also what we wanted to do is to expose the reading list readiness to the library. So this functionality touches both ends of the equation. So let me go into Leganto just to begin with, and I'm right now within one list. I can see that on the right side on the panel I have my list advisor, which basically what it means that there are many ideas and tips to enhance the engagement or the usability of the lists, such as add tags, add public notes, add the section description, and some others. The nice thing about it that this list is controllable by you, by the library, so you can choose which tips you would like to expose to your instructors. Now, on the list advisor itself, there is a mark, a grade, a score that indicates the readiness of the list according to the fulfilled tasks or tips in the list below. So as long as you are progressing with fulfilling those tips, the list score will be progress as well. So let's start just to see how it works. So I would like to add a citation. Basically adding a citation, an electronic citation as it is, or let's add some other citations. And let's go back to the list itself. And I can see that the read list score was, the list advisor shows was enhanced. And I can see that the task that, or the tip that I fulfill was citation with online access material was added. Okay, both citations are both electronic materials, so this is okay. Now, of course, along the way, there are many more tips that I can fulfill. For example, there is a nice tip say create at least 2 sections in the list, so I can just add another section and also a section description, which is another tip that is suggested to me. And by refreshing the list, I can see that the list advisor will score was updated, and I see that both tasks were fulfilled. Now, when I'm entering the list from the first time, and this is the second part of the development, let me just do one small thing here. I forgot from the last demo that I disabled that, so let me just go again. When I'm entering the list for the first time, at the beginning of when I'm entering the list, I'm being suggested with a tip of the day. Basically, this tip is a task or advice that is listed but was not fulfilled. So in this case, my today's tip is you have added some section description, add description to all section. Okay, makes sense, right? If you would like to instruct your students about the sections and what does it mean, it's better to add some description. So the first section description was added, but the second one I didn't. So he suggested me to do that as well. Okay, and so on and so forth. I'm basically building the list as long as I'm creating, fulfilling more and more of the tips. And let's go for more mature list. For example, this list. I can see that I have fulfilled almost all the tasks I was have tips for them, and if I look at that, I can see that most of them were added. There is one left, which is add citation dates. Now, I don't want to add citation dates, and this is not the policy in my institution. So either I don't do that, but also the librarian in Alma, and we'll see that in a few seconds, can disable this tip in your environment, and it will not be even suggested, and the score will be adjusted to 100 without this tip. Okay, so let's see just quickly in Alma how the configuration looks like. So under the configuration, the Leganto regular configuration, you have the reading listed by the agenda items, and basically just a list of all the suggestions, and you can just enable or disable those. So let's disable this reading list dates. I really don't know where it is. Okay, section date, sorry, this one. So I'll do customize, and I just say no, I don't want to do that, and save. And if I'll go back to the list, and let's refresh the list, you can see that my list score is 100, right? Because all the tasks I can calculate list scores accordingly are fulfilled because I disable one of the tips, and therefore this tip is out of the system and is not calculated. So you can choose what tips are important for you and adjust your specific tips that is relevant for your institution, and the score will be relevant for those. Okay, so this is the Leganto side, but also this functionality span to Alma. In Alma, if I write down if I look for the reading list, okay, so this is the reading list, and I'm viewing the reading list. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. I want to do that. Sorry about that. I have a list score of the advisor score available for me here. Okay, so if you remember, the list that we walked at the beginning has a 36 percentage, or the score was 36. This is important because I, as a librarian, would like to maybe to evaluate the list even before I'm even looking at the list. So I can have this score immediately available for me, and I can adjust what the readiness of this list. So for example, if the list was already sent to me to be inspected, and I see it's only 68% score, maybe the instructor didn't do all the necessary adjustment to the list or configure or annotation to the list. So I can maybe approach him and try to explain more about how to do that, or to be ready and to do that myself, depending on the flows. Okay, so basically all the lists that I have will have this advisor score, and I can easily sort the lists accordingly with done. Okay, so this is this functionality. Hopefully it will be useful. I will be really happy to hear from you if this is something that it will be used in your institution. And of course, if there are some question enhancements or issues you would like to discuss about the specific functionality, please let me know. Just one more thing, this functionality can be turned off and on from one flag in the Leganto customer settings. So you can turn it on and off if you wish not to start with it in the coming semesters, and to enable it later on. Any questions or that you would like to have about this functionality? Okay, so let's continue. Next thing I would like to discuss is a really big and function or time-consuming functionality in terms of development, but it's one of the most important functionality I believe we are developing now. It's relevant for reading list association with multiple courses. I just want to make a disclaimer just now, and I will discuss it even later on. This is only stage one of this development. Because it's a really huge task, it spans, I think, on 4 releases. So in each release, we will add more and more functionality. In this release, the basic functionality of associating both from Leganto and from Alma a reading list into multiple courses is available. This is also included the student access through the LTI interface or from the course management system or the VLE using the LTI interface to multiple courses in this methodology, new functionality. But there are a lot of functionality that is still that will be developed or delivered in future releases, such as analytics. Right now, analytics will not support the multiple courses, new data model that we created. Copyright rules and copyright management internally in Alma still not will not be support multiple courses. All those functions, and these are 2 main examples for that will be delivered in October release to finalize this functionality. So definitely, if you think about using that, just make sure that you know what are the limitations, okay, before starting to using this functionality. We deliver this functionality not fully developed in terms of all the modules within it, because the basic functionality is there, and if only the basic functionality is needed, you can use it, but also for you to use it and test it and see if this something is relevant for you, and you can use it in your October or your spring semester next year. Okay, so let's see how it works. Let's go back to my demo list. Okay, so association of courses from the list is done the same as done before from Leganto. You have a specific entry here in the main menu of the list, and you can just add any course that you are entitled to. So adding the first course quite the same. So, but now the difference is visible. You can actually associate this course, but I can now associate another course to this list. So I have another course about that I would like students to use the same list, and I can see both courses now available, and each course has its own time and participants. In this case, it's the same time period, but different number of participants. So if I do close, I can see that I have a multiple indication for courses and the list of courses that are associated to this reading list. Okay, and of course I can manage courses, and I can delete, remove courses, and add more courses if I wish. Okay, so from Leganto, it's available. Now this is totally new. We couldn't even associate more than one course into a reading list from Leganto, only one. Now in Alma, if I'll go back to the lists that I'm working on. So in Alma, first of all, again, I forgot to show it on the outside. I have both course code available for me immediately on the brief view of the list. Okay, but if I'll go into the list itself, several new things here. First of all, at the summary of the course on the top, I have the courses, the course name, but also I have number of participants, and this is surprise, surprise. Both courses participants sum up together. So you can actually view the total students that are using this reading list, and you don't need to calculate it between different courses, and if something is changed you're not aware of. Okay, so this is really nice and new. But also another thing that is added is a course tab over here. So if you click this course tab, you will be able to see what the same view that you have in Leganto, but more but in Alma style. So you can add more associate more courses, and you can actually remove association if you wish to a list. Okay, so both sides you can associate, disassociate, and see the summary of the courses in Alma for all the participants and courses. And as I said before, if a student will try to reach either from module or from course copy 100 or copy 200 into Leganto through using the LTI, of course, interface, the course that will be presented to him will be not multiple, will be the actual course code as the LMS or VLE is familiar with. So students will see only his own course, but instructors will see only the relevant courses for them as well. And if I'm the instructor that, right, as in the demo, that added those two courses, I will see all the courses I'm associated and relevant to. Okay, and now I would like also again to remind it, this is just the first step. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware this is something that is work in progress. You can see the disclaimer here, what is missing, and please make sure that if you are would like to use one of this functionality as part of the multiple courses, it will not be available related to the multiple courses enhancement. It will be available at the end of October. At the October release, we will finalize all this functionality listed here. Okay, any questions? Okay, so I'll continue. Compact list view. This request was, I think it was a request from a lot of institutions. Usually, and we know that, Leganto has been used or worked from the VLE or the course management system. Now, by doing so, Leganto real estate, as we call it, or screen size or availability in terms of the screen is even is restricted, right? And what we wanted to provide is the ability for you to choose, for the student or instructor or the institution as default for the user and instructor, to choose from a more compact view that will allow more citations visible on screen. So I have here, this is a big screen, and if I scroll up, I see I have something like 6 citations. And if it's the beginning of the, the list, when I have the full view of the description of the title, it's only 4 citations. It's sometimes you need to scroll down. You have many citations. It's quite hard to grasp the list materials in such way and understand it from a, with a perspective. So we added this compact list button. As I said, this can be configured for a default as what it will be your first list view when you enter it. So you can configure the compact list view as the default for your students, but if not, this button will be available. So you can see now the list view is much more compact. Yes, we don't show all the information about the citation, but sometimes after the list was looked and was viewed by the students, they already know about what is already there, so they can quickly like that, scan the list and reach to the full text or for other things in the list. And I think it's in a more fast way. So you can see it's about doubling the size of citations available for me on screen. So I can switch back. You can see the results. Okay. this is the compact list view. I think it's really nice and maybe very useful as well. Next thing is a small thing. This was a request, I believe, I think from Sheffield, but I'm not 100% sure about that. When I'm adding a new citation, just edit another Picasso. So when I'm clicking the citation, I can have an add and edit, the new button of add and edit. This will, comparing to add, will add the citation and allows me to edit it on, on the right side. So because of the new, I believe it was really straightforward because of the new design of adding and searching in Leganto. So now I have this citation added and all the metadata open to me. So immediately I can adjust metadata if I wish, and continue with my work. This is a small but useful functionality. Two minor things. We added score type, material types, secondary material type score, which was missing apparently. This is good. Now the last thing I wanted to show is just a small thing, but I think it's important for you to realize that, because if you're using the find list functionality, and I know some of you are in several institutions, the permalink that is being directing guest users into the find list was more, either students, but could be anyone, guest that saved the link itself into the bookmark, but the actual link was not bookmarkable, if such word exists. So if you copy and save it, if you would like to go back to this specific link, it was not working for you. So what we did on the find list itself, we have the ability to bookmark it, and this link that will present here is a bookmarkable link. So students will be able to, or anyone can be able to copy that and then later on come back to this find list area, and not just getting an error from the system. I believe all what we see here is related to the multiple courses, as I discussed. List advisor configuration. I don't want to get into it right now, but you just saw that. It's straightforward. Compact list views. You can, of course, as I said, configure a default for your institution. Also, one more thing that is related to the view, you can decide to configure the first, as a default when you enter the list, the section to be collapsed. Collapse and not open. So if you wish, this is the starting point of students. And what we did also is in the actual sections themselves, oops, sorry. We added the number of citations that this section holds. So, and also we added thumbnails to the sections. So if you wish to open the list with collapsed sections, the view will be more friendly to students, and they realize that there is something existing in the section, and there's a call for action to click and open it. Okay, so it's kind of the complementary development, first of all, to allow section default to be collapsed when entering the list, but the other thing is to have the section looks more friendly and with content of the amount of citation and some thumbnails. Okay, just a sneak peek for next month release. So we will enhance this ability for copyright declaration. This request came from the Northern America, but it can be used by any region. You can actually configure for uploading file, self-uploading file by the instructor, what type of copyright compliance this file is being, uploaded with. So, for example, if it's fair use, so you can configure an option with a fair use, and when this file was added, the copyright status of the material will be determined by the chosen option by the instructor. So this is really nice, and I believe will be used by many institutions. The other thing I wanted to just highlight, we will have nice integration with Alexander Street Press as for recommendation of videos. Should you register for their collection, and you will be able to from a list level have recommendation, video recommendation to be added into your list. That's about from my side. If you do have any questions, please let me know now. But it's okay that if you don't. Okay, so thank you, and have a rest of the day good at the beginning. For those of you who just ending the day, good night. See you next week, next month. Sorry. Bye bye.